is the Auburn Podcast, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. Zach Blackerby and Painter Sharpless here with you. Hello, Painter.
What's up, Zach?
Full studio today as we record today's edition of the show. Justin Ferguson of The Athletic and ESPN 106.7.
What's up?
And it's a Wolk Wednesday on a Tuesday. Benjamin Wolk with AuburnSports.com. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Didn't expect to be a part of this, but very happy to be a part of it.
But you are a part of it now.
Glad to be.
We're all in this together. And today, a little 10-question action.
All right.
You know, we've done 20 questions in the past, but those are usually like super long. So we're just going to do 10 questions. I'm going to give you each 45 seconds to answer this, and then I'll pick the winner each round. So who wants to go first?
Daddy.
All right.
All right, I'll go first then.
Wow.
Man.
Shots fired.
That was so quick too.
That was
like,
quick.
It was like
I've
you
got
were
to let him go first now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have to.
I've been dunked on. Absolutely.
All right,
Bang.
Ben Wolk of AuburnSports.com. Here we go. All right, what's the upside for the Auburn 2019 offensive line?
I think that there's some NFL possibilities on it, obviously. So I think that if you're looking into the future in terms of not just what they do at Auburn, I think they have some guys that are going to get drafted. There's some talent there, and they could end up getting drafted fairly high. I think that you will see much improvement along that offensive line from 2019 compared to 2018.
Justin?
Yeah, I think in terms of pass protection, this Auburn team is going to improve even more. I think last year, pass protection, they were solid, which is something that they needed to do after how bad 2017 was in that category. I think the big question is going to be run blocking, and I think the only issue is I think this line in terms of run game is only going to go as far as that right guard. Whatever happens right guard. If it's Mike Horton, and we'll throw center in as well. So I think there's room for improvement. This is what J.B. Grimes was hired to do, is to develop guys, especially guys who have experience like this. But with a new quarterback, they're going to be fine in pass protection. I think the running game should improve, but I don't know if it's going to be an elite group. You don't have a Braden Smith.
Sure. And Painter?
Yeah, I think that Ben's right. I think there's some professional talent along this line. I think that they certainly take a step forward in pass blocking, as Justin also mentioned. Curious to see what that right guard and center spot look like. And I don't think this has to be an elite offensive line. It is curious to me with an inexperienced quarterback, how good do they need to be to maybe erase some mistakes that a young quarterback could make early, especially if that guy is Bo Nix. But to me, this just needs to be a solid unit. When you look at some of the skill position players and the wide receivers, I think if they're just a solid group, they can win a lot of games.
Cool. Liked all three of y'all's answers. I'm going with Justin's first with the early point. All right, number two, Painter, I'll let you start with this one off. Give me an early nickname for Bo Nix.
Bosif.
Justin?
The chosen one.
Ben?
Bow time.
I came this close to saying that, and you had it. Yeah, that's the winner.
Is that a reference to something?
That is a reference.
What's the reference to?
It was. I think the first. Oh, it was the first one we brought it up. I made a joke during the his state championship game, because if you ever go to Bojangles, they have the box says it's bow time, and when he stepped out onto the field for his first drive, I tweeted a picture of that out. And I'm going to do it if he starts this year for Auburn. I'll probably do it.
Can you do it every week?
I'll probably do it at A-Day. And then I think, and I can't remember who exactly wrote it, but somebody used it as a lead at one point in time. So Ben wins.
Okay, cool. I like Bro Nix. I'm just going to throw that one.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
All right. Number three. All right. If Owen Papo had a superpower, what would it be, Justin?
I mean, I think it's got to be speed. Like that's his big thing already. So I think if he was the superpower, it would just be he would be even faster than he is right now. Like that is his game. Ben, I know we've talked in the past. Some people think he's going to be a safety at the next level, more than an outside linebacker. I'm gonna go with speed, super speed.
All right, Ben is pointing to Painter. Painter, you can go next.
Well, since you took the logical one, I'll just go for left field. I'd like to say invisibility. He'll be so quick that lineman won't be able to see him when he's coming on the blitz.
It's a good disguise.
So I'll say invisibility.
That's good.
Since you took a really good one too, Justin.
This guy knows Owen more than anyone else.
I do, but I'm not going to be able to top invisibility. I just know that right off
I like
the jump.
invisibility a lot. Yeah.
You can just cut me off because, I'm not going to be able to top invisibility.
I want you to answer something.
Is his hair as good as yours?
I would say
Beauty is Owen Papo's superpower.
That's a distraction. The quarterback's mind.
it's the boring answer, but I'll just go with flight.
Okay, yeah, Painter wins.
I'm not going to beat invisibility.
No, that is okay. That is okay. Let's take a quick break and give shout out to Fanatics. And every podcast, we're going to do a Fanatics item of the day, and it'll always be in the link description of the podcast. So today we're featuring it's an Auburn long sleeve shirt. It's one of the top sellers on the Auburn site, the Auburn Fanatics site, and I think Painter, you've got a picture of it pulled up, but I think very sporty for today's
lightweight,
item.
Breathable material.
Love
They're
it.
almost gone, so you need to get there. I'll tell you this: it's a shooter shirt. So if you're a guy that fancies the spring weather where it's cool, can't decide, hey, do I need to be indoor, outdoor? Do I need to have on a long sleeve, short sleeve? This meets all your needs because you can stay nice and brisk.
Love it.
And dry, but you can also feel the lightweight material on you. And it's got a nice design. Got the lower half is white.
Yes.
The blue up top.
A little bit of a fade action.
Yeah, and so there's also some writing on the left sleeve that says Unleash Chaos 2019. So look, I'm going to go get one of these. You should too. Check out Fanatics.
Absolutely, yeah. Check that out in our link. We get credit for it, and you get some awesome Auburn gear, and we're going to have different items featured for every podcast. All right, so number 4, and Ben, this will be your question to start things off with. What's your favorite cereal and why?
My favorite cereal, I got to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh.
Gosh, coming out of the gate strong on this one.
Wow, nothing like some sugar.
First of all,
straight.
First of all, it's one of those cereals that you can get at pretty much any hotel. Like almost all hotels have them, and so I'm always going to lean toward, a Cinnamon Toast Crunch, maybe a Fruit Loops.
Keep the diet consistent for sure.
Yeah, to start the day off with that amount of sugar, like Painter said, it's hard to beat that.
It's pretty awesome. It's just like oh gosh, so much energy.
All right, Justin, favorite cereal and why, brother?
Mine is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
And, Ben kind of gave the straightforward answer. It is available everywhere. I will say though, the cinnamon sugar milk at the end can't beat it.
Oh, it's so
can't
good.
Beat it.
Very
Can't beat it.
slurp-worthy.
It is the. I think picking a good cereal, you have to pick something. The milk leftovers got to be strong. Not every good cereal does that. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, elite at that level.
That's strong. Painter, what's up, man?
So my first thought, but this won't be my answer. I just need to give them honorable mention.
Okay.
Honey Nut Cheerios, excellent. I think no matter what, if there's a depression or if things are going well in the economy, you can rely on Honey Nut Cheerios. If things are going well, and I might add they are for me, I'm going to splurge on Honey Bunches of Oats, different varieties. Give me Honey Bunches of Oats all day.
Honey Nut Cheerios literally like gouge proof.
Right. I'm going with Justin just because I think the milk point. I think the milk point at the end.
So he got to
is so
piggyback
true.
off someone else's answer and get to add
That was
an
the real
extra
answer.
point.
That was the real answer.
I'm rotating,
You could have
guys.
thought the milk. You could have picked the milk.
Well, if I had
That's
talked
a
about the
lead.
milk, what would Justin have gotten to talk about?
I feel
The
like
hotel- the
I'm
hotel- the
rotating.
hotel part.
Don't worry about Justin. Worry about you, brother. This is a stiff competition.
That is a
Boo this
that is a
man.
lead. That is a lead. 2-1-1.
That's
Here we
right.
go.
That's right. All right, number 5, and we'll let Painter go first on this one. Who leads in catches for Auburn in 2019?
Oh my goodness. This is a toughie. Let me stall real quick and think about it because I think Seth Williams is going to be that boy, but I don't know if he's going to get the most targets.
Yeah, because we've done this before, and you said he led in yards.
Yeah, I think Anthony Schwartz, if I was going to say maybe, would be more likely to have the most amount of touches, especially if they use him the way that Ryan Davis was used. So I'll go with Schwartz.
He'll be on the show next week, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, don't freak out.
Justin, I feel like I know what direction you're going in, but let me hear it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Anthony Schwartz as well. I think Schwartz is the guy to replace Ryan Davis at flanker. And this is Gus Malzahn. He's going to use that flanker to do a lot of different things. He's going to get the ball in his hands a lot. I think last year he's going to look back and say, man, we should have gotten him the ball a whole lot more frequently than we did. A lot of screens, a lot of quick passes to him. Let him do work after the catch. he's the one. I think Painter's right. Seth Williams is going to be a star this year, but I think he's going to be more in the line of like the Darius Slayton type of like he's going to make big plays, but he's not necessarily going to get as many targets and catches as the rest of them.
Ben?
I think that their answers are fair. I think that a sleeper, if he were to come in and perform the way that I think he could, would be Javarius Johnson, just because I think that they will use him in that screen game. It'll get used a lot. But I'm actually going to go with Seth Williams because I think that while we've seen him down the field and we know what he can do in these 50-50 situations, I think that he can get utilized in the screen game more than people think. Just some of these quick screens out on the perimeter and just make some plays in one-on-one situations.
All right, and just like that, we got a two-way tie at first with Ben getting that point.
That's good.
So,
thought you were going to give Justin another one for picking the same answer as somebody else.
Sure. A little salty.
We've seen that
All right,
story.
I'm gonna bat lead off on this question.
All right, cool. All right, Painter and I talked about this earlier. Some places, some sports books putting at the over/under for Auburn next year at 8 wins. You got over or under?
I think 8's great. I think 8's a good number for a push, but I'm gonna go over. I think Auburn's more of a 9-win team than a 7-win team. This team with Gus Mal, I think with Gus Malzahn becoming the offensive brain that no one's going to question that this season. I think Auburn's going to be a whole lot more fluid on offense. You got to like the offensive line talent they're bringing back. I know there's a lot of questions about quarterback play, but I think I feel confident with Gus Malzahn 100% in his control. And honestly, you get to 9 wins, you just necessarily don't have to kind of just you take care of business and kind of pull off a couple of those games on the road. Defensively, the defensive line and the safeties are going to really, really help out that young linebacking core a lot. You win and lose games on the line.
That's time. All right, Ben, you want to go second or third?
I'll go right now. I mean, I agree.
I want to make sure you're happy.
I agree that 8 is a good number. I'm going to actually go under.
Oh.
Wow.
And
the bunker's
part of that
love
is
you.
when I look at it, I say I don't see them beating Georgia or Alabama next season. They have to go on the road at LSU. And so
we know how well that's worked.
The question I have to ask myself beyond that is, do they go undefeated in the rest of their games? And since we're picking an over/under 8 situation, I'm going to guess that they do not go undefeated in the rest of those 9 games.
All right, and Painter.
I think Ben's answer is logical. I also like Justin's argument. I'm going to say over. I think Auburn beats Oregon, Tulane, Kent State. I think they drop one to Texas A&M. This is a way too early prediction. I think that they rebound against Mississippi State, have a pleasant surprise in Gainesville over a rising Dan Mullen team. They will beat Arkansas. They will snap that 2-decade streak against LSU. They will beat Ole Miss. They will lose to Georgia and Alabama, and they will beat Samford. Give me the over.
It's 9-3.
It's 9-3.
I'm taking Painter on that one.
That's good.
I'm taking Painter. He did a better breakdown, guys. No offense. Number 7. Who wants to go first on this one?
I can lead off here.
All right. You sure? You sure?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What's the worst case for Auburn in 2019?
Worst case for Auburn in 2019 is you lose against Oregon in the opener and everything just falls apart from there. I mean, I think Painter just went through the schedule, and if you look at the games that could be losses, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, Florida, and then beyond that, I mean, you never know what to expect from, Mississippi State perhaps next season. So worst case scenario, you lose against Oregon and everything completely falls apart. In the minds of some people, however, I don't know. That might be a best case scenario situation.
Wow. All right. That's a strong. See, you do good when you lead off, man. That was strong.
I thought I did great when I led off with Cinnamon Toast Crunch too, but sheesh.
All right, Justin, go ahead.
Worst case scenario for Auburn next season is they go 7-5 or a lame 8-4, and I'm saying an 8-4 where you don't beat Alabama, Georgia, Florida, or LSU, and that's because you're in a holding pattern with Gus Malzahn. I think the best case scenario for Auburn is if they find some clarity on Gus Malzahn this season, whether he's good enough to keep him around, or if they bottom out quick enough that it makes it easy, it's straightforward, you got to get rid of him. I think being in purgatory would be the worst possible case for Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, I'm going to say if Auburn loses that game against Oregon, or even if they win it, but then they can't find ways to beat teams like A&M, Florida, then they're going to really struggle against the top-tier teams in Georgia and Alabama, which could leave them in a precarious situation, basically battling to get SEC wins, probably against the likes of Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss. And if those are where your 3 wins are coming from in conference play, I imagine this is the last season for Gus Malzahn. I'm not there. I'm not saying I think that's what happens, but for a worst-case scenario, if your wins are over the Mississippi schools and Arkansas, things have not gone the way Gus Malzahn wanted.
See, batting leadoff works. I'm giving you the point, Ben.
Oh, see, I would have given it to Ferg because I thought his argument, I liked his argument about being in a holding pattern with Gus Malzahn might even be worse.
I think it was just your words kind of captivated me a little bit. Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But if you are listening to this podcast, you're probably listening and thinking everything Justin says is absolutely amazing, and that's because he supports the show via our Patreon page. Oh. And you can do the same. Just go to the podcast episode description and click the link that says support the show. And for as little as $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you feel, it would be greatly appreciated. We want to keep this thing going year round, daily, and kind of bring you everything Auburn every single day. So please contribute and help out the show if you are willing. All right, so now we got some Auburn basketball action.
Yes.
So, Payne, I'm going to let you lead off on this one. Number 8, who leads Auburn basketball in points scored this postseason?
That's a great question.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. I smiled a little bit when I wrote this one down.
I'm going to say Bryce Brown. I think Chuma Okeke is the obvious answer that I want to say, but because of Bryce's ability to get hot at the right time, although I think Chuma is hands down the most talented player on the team, if we're going with points scored, I'll go with Bryce.
Okay. Justin?
I'm going to go with the answer that Painter was too cowardly to say. It's Chuma Okeke. Chuma Okeke not being a first or second team All-SEC pick, not being an all-defense pick. This is a guy who doesn't play off of a lot of emotion, but it's going to be a guy that's going to be motivated. I think Bruce Pearl is going to be motivated to make sure he gets the ball in his hands. Through the last few games of this season, he has been the go-to guy, and he is putting up high teens, low 20s in scoring. And this might be it for him, honestly. This might be he could be going to the NBA very soon. So I think he shows out with a lot of eyeballs on him.
What makes this such a good question is I think that both of those answers were really good answers, and I'm actually going to go different from that. I think Jared Harper ends up having the ball in his hands down the stretch in most of these games, and I think come tournament time you're going to be in a lot of close games. I mean, I think that what makes Chuma and Bryce good answers is because a lot of times they're, everything's going through Jared, but he's the one distributing it to them. So just point strictly could go their way. But I just think that you've seen the last 2 or 3 games. Auburn gets into late game situations. The ball is in Jared Harper's hands. He's taking it to the basket. He's pulling up from deep. And I just think that these type of tournament games, you rely on your point guard to win you games.
I'm giving Painter the point strictly just because I agree with him. I think it's going to be Bryce Brown. But let me ask a follow-up question, and I didn't have this one written down because I didn't expect you guys all to go different ways here. But I think those are the obvious 3. But if the leading point scorer is not one of those 3, is it a good thing for Auburn or bad?
Bad.
I think it's a good thing, actually, because I have trouble believing.
Who's it going to be?
Well, I don't know who it would
maybe
be,
if he gets hot.
Maybe Anthony McLemore's hitting some shots from deep. But I think the reason it would be a good thing is because I don't think that Jared, Bryce, and Chuma all fall flat at the same time. So if someone does outperform them scoring in the tournament, I think that it has more to do with what they accomplished than everyone else just falling flat. Now, if everybody falls flat and somebody ends up averaging 7 points per game, well,
because if you tell me that Anthony McLemore scores 20 or Asa Wiley comes back and drops 20, is like Auburn probably wins that game, right? That's kind of my thought process. So
Forrest Spencer starts scoring 30 a game, I think Auburn's in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, who wants the next one first?
Painter.
All right. What senior leaving Auburn basketball, which of the 4 helped influence the basketball culture the most?
I think this one for me is easy. Bryce, having been here for 4 years, I realize there's a good case to be made for Horace Spencer, in part because he was a guy who simply played his role so well. But Bryce, each season seemed to get better. His sophomore year, I thought he had a season in which he struggled, and he bounced back his junior year and helped lead this team to a regular season title. He was here where there were still some really bad teams. I'm going to say Bryce Brown has been integral and helping change the perception of Auburn basketball in the last 4 seasons.
Ben?
I'm actually going to go with my guy, Malik Dunbar.
Malik Hive.
I've loved Malik for a couple of years now. The production level that you've seen his senior season, I think, is something good for Bruce Pearl to be able to point to with other guys on his roster and say, if you stick it out and you keep being a part of this team, you may be able to double your production across the board between your junior and your senior season. Also, I think when you look at the energy that players provide for Auburn Arena, I don't know if there's a player on this team. I mean, I do agree, Bryce Brown, what he does and what he has done the entire time has helped build this culture, but Malik Dunbar, you see him finish off a dunk or hit a three. I mean, there is nobody on this team that energizes Auburn Arena and this Auburn fan base the way that Malik Dunbar does, and I think he's a guy that you're going to miss.
All right, and Justin.
I'm going to go with Horace Spencer, just to be different. But no, I also think Horace Spencer, Horace came in as a highly rated 4-star player, but he never became a star really at Auburn. He played behind, Austin Wiley, and then he played behind Anthony McLemore when he caught fire. And I think Horace is the definition of this Auburn team. What's taken them to the next level is they've gotten guys to high-level guys to play really good roles, to sacrifice for their team, to be willing to literally bleed for them, and do whatever's asked of him, even though he's not the star. He's helped Auburn become a more well-rounded team. The Malik Dunbar thing's great. He had two seasons. Bryce Brown, excellent. Auburn's had plenty of shooters like him, KT Harrell, Tay Waller, guys like that. Horace Spencer is kind of the evolution in what Auburn has kind of been under Bruce Pearl.
All right, yeah, I'm giving Justin the point there because I agree with him, and also he found a way to work in Tay Waller into the answer, and he's my favorite Auburn basketball player. So
I think Horace does really embody what Bruce Pearl wants this program to represent, though.
Yeah, and an upperclassman who kind of lost minutes throughout his career, and you never heard anything bad from him. So I love that.
And also, he was the guy that the talk of Auburn is they're too small, and he's been the guy who is undersized the center, but has been able to guard guys like Grant Williams and hang with Kentucky and stuff like that.
All right, so we're at a 3-way tie, and final question. And I hate that this is not anywhere close to one of the better questions that I've written down, but who wants to start it off?
I'll go.
All right. Does Auburn win 2 games in the SEC tournament?
Yes. Yeah, Auburn wins 2 games in the SEC tournament. I think right now they're a hotter team than South Carolina. You can feel good about them playing Missouri and Georgia. I mean, this team is capable of getting bounced early, but this is a very favorable draw for them. I think they've gotten a whole lot better in defending since the last time they played Chris Silva. They take care of the ball, which is what they did not do in Columbia. They roll in this one, I think, and I think they'll take 2. And you know what? If they play LSU in that third game, they're gonna have a shot. They hung with them in Baton Rouge, and LSU's a mess right now.
I'm with Justin, but I'll take it a step further. I think that they win
it all.
the third game as well. I think when you look at the matchup, whether it's Georgia or Missouri, they've beaten both of those teams. They've beaten Georgia twice. That close Georgia game, of course, on the road, that seemed to be a momentum booster for Auburn. And then I think they get a revenge game against South Carolina. Silva probably still has a good game, but not good enough to really decimate Auburn the way he did in Columbia. And then I think that there's a chance Florida could upset LSU, but even if they don't, I like Auburn over LSU. So I think Auburn definitely wins 2 in this tournament.
All right, and Ben, there's a chance that Georgia and Auburn play in Auburn's first game, so I assume you're going to say no to this.
I do not expect Auburn to play Georgia in this SEC tournament. I expect Missouri to handle Georgia quite well in that 12-13 matchup. I think Auburn would run either of these 2 teams out of the gym. I mean, they haven't won an SEC tournament game in 3 years, and Anthony McLemore mentioned it today that there's not a player on this team that has won an SEC tournament game. They know that. They're going to win one without a doubt. That South Carolina game, I think, tells us a lot about what ends up happening with Auburn in the big tournament, just because they have had struggles against South Carolina. It's a matchup problem, so to speak, against them with Chris Silva. He had 32 and 14 against them earlier this season. I think that if you can get Austin Wiley back, I know people have hesitations about him being in the rotation, but you get him back to even just eat up some fouls in that South Carolina game, I think that's the difference maker.
All right, I'm giving it to Justin. Justin, congratulations. You win today's edition of 10 Questions. Ben is standing up throwing things right now. No, but cool, guys. Thanks for joining me and Painter today. Ben, where can people find your stuff?
AuburnSports.com, Twitter, Benjamin Wolk, WOLK.
And Painter? I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I pointed at Justin. I'm sorry.
Now I feel
I'm going to
awkward.
come to you last.
Okay.
Justin.
Follow me on Twitter at jfergusonau. Read my stuff at theathletic.com and listen to me on the lunch break from 11 to 1 on ESPN 1067.
All right, now you, Paintor. My bad.
Thank you. I'm at Paint Sharpless. Read my work at espnau.com. There's nothing there.
I was about to say.
I was going to say
I haven't done
I was
that.
going to say The Athletic, but I thought Justin might get mad if I soiled their website.
No,
with.
you're supposed to say of the OA News.
That's fair. But you can follow me at Paint Sharpless, and of course, listen to Justin and me from 11 to 1 on ESPN 1067.
Awesome stuff. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at ZBlackerby. Please support the show. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been another edition of the Auburn Podcast.